irresponsible that some individuals who claim to be Democrats are openly advocating for the release of a man whose violent secessionist agenda has claimed over 1,200 innocent.
Hello and what's up guys? In this video something serious is happening again and it's already causing shockwaves across the country. The coalition of northern groups known as CNG has come out blasting those planning protests to demand the release of Ipob leader Nnamdi Kanu. According to them, these protests being pushed by political and social figures, including former presidential candidate Omoyele Sowore, are not just wrong, but a direct insult to the memories of Nigerians who lost their lives in the violence linked to Nnamdi Kanu's movement. Senji say it is deeply disturbing that people who call themselves Democrats are now openly fighting for a man whose secessionist campaign, according to them, has claimed the lives of hundreds of Nigerians since 2017. But that is not just the beginning. In their statement, the Northern Coalition revealed shocking numbers, claiming that IPOB's violence activities have killed over 1,200 innocent Nigerians, including more than 400 security officers, burned more than 100 police stations, and destroyed properties worth a staggering 450 billion naira across the southeast. Just imagine that for a moment. Over 1,000 lives gone, hundreds of security officers dead, entire communities left in ruins. Yet some people are calling for the unconditional release of the man they hold responsible. CNG insists that no amount of street protest, no emotional blackmail, and no political pressure can wipe away these atrocities. They said it would be morally wrong and politically irresponsible for anyone to demand Kanu's release without accountability for what has happened. According to them, it is not just about politics anymore. It is about justice, law, and the value of human life. The group also warned that Nigerians must not allow themselves to be deceived or emotionally manipulated by politicians seeking cheap popularity from a sensitive national issue. But here is where things get really interesting. This warning has divided Nigerians sharply. Some people say the North has every right to stand firm, arguing that the wounds caused by IPOB are still fresh and painful. Others, however, believe Nnamdi Kanu's release might actually calm the tension and open the door for peace and dialogue in the country. So now, the big question is this: should Kanu be free to give peace a chance, or should the government hold the line and insist on justice first? Guys, I will let you watch this video for yourself so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already done so. Take a look, guys, and remember to share your thoughts after watching.
Now, the coalition of northern groups has warned against planned protests demanding the unconditional release of the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra. The protests are being championed political and social elites, chief of whom is former presidential candidate Omoyele Sowore. The coalition finds it odd that Democrats are openly advocating for a man whose violent secessionist agenda has claimed the lives of hundreds of Nigerians since it began in 2017. In the light of this, CNG insists that no amount of a street protest will erase the atrocities committed in the course of Igbo activities.
It is morally reprehensible and politically irresponsible that some individuals who claim to be Democrats are openly advocating for the release of a man whose violent secessionist agenda has claimed over 1,200 innocent lives, including more than 400 security personnel, burned over 100 police stations, and caused the destruction of property worth over 450 billion across the southeast. CND warns that no amount of street protest or emotional manipulation will erase these atrocities or compel the Nigerian state to compromise the rule of law.
Alright. Sowore said I will be leading a protest against the federal government to ASO on the 20th of this month for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. I actually said I was not going to do a video on this, but I have also discovered that if every one of us keep quiet, some people will think that doing the wrong thing and people not saying anything about it is the right thing, in making, which is very wrong. You see, Sowore is someone that I love so much because of what he stands in this country, because of the role he has been playing and the role he has played, especially against the military dictatorship in this country. Because it was not easy for him and every other, activist at that time to fight against the military administration. He did it. Now, a person of his caliber should not come out to make this kind of statement that he wants to protest against the government for the release of Nnamdi Kanu and even give a date, saying that it's a betrayal and a letdown to everyone that was unalived as a result of insensitive quest of Nnamdi Kanu to secede the southeast from this country, which led to insecurity at the highest level. It was in UK giving instruction, telling his foot soldiers what to do, and this led to destruction, wanton destruction, killings, and stuff like that. This was what led the government arresting him, and forcing him back to the country from Kenya. We are all aware of this. Even Sowore is aware of this. And the government saying that he has a case to answer because he has offended the government. It's a case against the states. It's not a civil wrong. Now the government cannot, discipline him, but I'm talking of the executive now. They took him to court, which is what the judiciary, and arbiter of dispute resolution. Now it is not left for the court to say, okay, he's guilty or not. How long it takes them to come to that, conclusion, it's not our business. That is their own, job to do. Now, if Sowore wants to lead a protest, I want to advise him, let him go to Finland and start the protest from there. He should go and protest against the Finnish government for sentencing Samuel Ekpa for the same terrorism-related offenses. Samuel Ekpa was the second informant to Kanu, and he was tried and sentenced in Finland. Nobody spoke anything. But here in Nigeria, the same person, or let me say, the boss of that same person, is charged for the same thing in this country, and some people say they want to protest. If maybe you happen that any member of your family was unalive as a result of this, you will know the pain. You will feel the pain. Properties were destroyed. So many things went wrong. At least we all knew or understand what happened during the Nigerian Civil War. Over 3 million people were unalive. And somebody coming up again and saying that he wants to tour the same land. It is wrong. If we want this country to be good, it lies in the hands of every one of us, not the government alone. Please, if you have not followed me, I want you to follow me. I want you to like this video, I want you to comment, and I want you to share this video. I tell you, actually, I'm going to be coming up with different updates for you. You see, this country, Nigeria, must be good, whether they like it or not. We are the ones that will make it good, not NG. We are the ones.
In my last video, I was interrogating the 3 things Omoyele has said about the Igbo people. The first one is that Nigeria has an Igbo problem. I've dealt with that in my first video. The second one he said is that if he ever became president, his first assignment would be to go to the southeast and apologize to the Igbo people. I have attended to that, and I said I was going to start a series on the socio-political history of Nigeria. Now, the third thing he said that he has not done, that he is planning to do on the October 20th, which is the anniversary of the NSAS, is that he wants to do a free Nnamdi Kanu protest. And he's really getting a lot of people. I've seen several of his PR0TESTS report headlines talking about how many people have joined him, saying they were going to carry out a protest for Nnamdi Kanu to be freed. Now, the question to ask these people, we have several questions to ask Omoyele Sowore. Omoyele Sowore, why didn't you carry out a protest for the freedom of Simon Ekpa? Now, where I am going to blame the Nigerian government is how they have allowed Kanu to stall that trial process, because Kanu is actually stalling. Anybody who has followed up with the case knows how much Kanu is stalling, and I'm going to show you some headlines that shows that Kanu and his legal counsels are stalling the trial. Now, if there should be any protest at all, it should be that Kanu should face, that Kanu's trial should be sped up so that every Nigerian will actually know if he's guilty or not. Not that you should protest that he should be freed. Even when Simon Ekpa, that didn't do up to a quarter of what Nnamdi Kanu did, is faced in prison of the same charges. So, Omoyele Sowore, I do not know what justification you have for the protest you are organizing, and you have even brought in article and brought in all this and that. I do not know the justification that you have for that protest of October 20th, which is the anniversary of the NSAS. You see, you cannot tell me you're an activist again because you have contested for an elective position, the presidency twice, so you have become an opposition. So, if the government of the day treats you on October 20 as an opposition, the whole world should not say that Nigerian government is doing something to protesters or to civilians who are protesting, because this is coming out of opposition politics. Because tell me, if Simon Ekpa has faced his trial and has gone to prison, and some of the terrorists, Ipob, ESN, whatever terrorists that Nnamdi Kanu has raised in the southeast have been neutralized by the army. Tell me the justice behind the protest you are doing, that Nnamdi Kanu should be freed. If a lot of promising sons and daughters of southeast extraction of our Igbo brothers and sisters have been unalived by this demon called ESN, Ipob, tell me the reason, the justifiable reason for that your protest. Number 3, let us look at those school children. Yes, who are supposed to ride their bike, whose parents were beaten. These children were beaten because of seats at home in the southeast. And tell me there's a justifiable reason for Nnamdi Kanu not to face trial. To face a trial is facing. And for all of you who have come on the first video I made telling me that no, it was not a video, it was a caption, a meme, telling me that the appeal court set Nnamdi Kanu free. No. The Nigerian government, took that case to the Supreme Court, and the case is still in the Supreme Court. And let me show you some of the headlines that show that Kanu is stalling his trial. Before that case when the case was being handled in the Federal High Court, and Binta Ayako was in charge of the case, Kanu was accusing Binta Ayako of corruption and said that they should change her. About 2 or 3 judges have been changed at the request of Nnamdi Kanu. He said he was not going to stand trial under them. Tell me that is not stalling. And then look at these headlines. See these headlines. And tell me the government is 100% at fault, and the fault is not coming from Kanu. All of us are playing politics in Nigeria, and Sowore, you are playing politics with the Igbos. Honestly, you are playing politics with those people. And it breaks my heart that you are capitalizing on their pain to play your politics. And it is not fair.
I want to talk about this planned protest for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. It is rather unfortunate that we in Nigeria, we are this careless, this selfish, and this timid that we do not use our brains to think, but allow manipulators and criminal masterminds to control us, how the way we think and the way we behave or even act. On a normal day, you would think that people like Sowore mean well for this nation or actually understand the Nigerian problem or even have a clue of what the solution is. But no, people like Sowore are manipulators who over time understand how vulnerable, weak, and timid the Nigerian society is and take advantage of it, of people's emotions, to manipulate them and exploit them. Now, let us reason about the issue of Nnamdi Kanu. Nnamdi Kanu is somebody who believes that Nigeria must end, or that Nigeria should end, so that he can actualize Biafra. By any means, he wants Nigeria to go down. Now, if you are somebody who says you mean well for this nation, that is a contradiction. That is a contradiction, because you cannot mean well for Nigeria and be a supporter of Nnamdi Kanu. It's not possible. But that is not even my problem. My problem is that this present madman called Nnamdi Kanu does not even have a clue or an idea on how to actualize the so-called Biafra he talks about. He doesn't. We must understand that this very Biafra, a civil war has been fought for this Biafra on this same issue for 3 good years. Millions of lives. Today they say it was a massacre. Who started the massacre? As far as long as I know, Ojukwu started the civil war, and perhaps he didn't think it through, just as the madness Nnamdi Kanu is behaving now, not thinking it through. He is crying in prison now. What was he expecting? What was he expecting? That Nigerians should a kind of feel empathy for him? Nigeria is a sovereign state, and in a sovereign state, you coming to declare an independent nation or independence in a sovereign state is treason, and Nnamdi Kanu should be executed. He should be executed. Under a responsible government, there is no two ways about it. If you make me the president, I execute such kind of people without even the court orders. And let the worst happen. And let the worst happen. This very criminal mastermind, lunatic, has cost Nigeria more than anybody can even imagine. Today we have, apart from the thousands of lives that has been killed by the insecurity in the southeast, are you aware that majority of Nigerians are now bastards of no nation because of these Biafra agitations? We complain about security. We complain about corruption. How do you think insecurity is thriving? How do you think corruption is thriving? Because no one is patriotic. We are not responsible citizens. How are we not responsible citizens? Because of these agitations, which are vanity projects. Nobody in Nigeria can divide Nigeria. No president in Nigeria can divide. Even if you make an Igbo man the president of Nigeria, he cannot divide Nigeria. It's not possible. The only way Nigeria can be divided is if we have a round table and all representatives of the region come together, the traditional institutions come together and sit and decide that, look, now we all have accepted to go our separate ways. And people like Nnamdi Kanu should be advocating for a regional system of government so that Nigeria will be structured in such a way that such things can be possible. Such discussions can be possible. And then you go around, you think it's by going around making noises, and you can fight 10 civil wars again and again and again. But I promise you, you have the Americans who are willing to sponsor the defense of the Nigeria structure that it is, so that this kind of noises or factions can be causing here and there, and we are confused, but yet not divided. The British will never allow Nigeria to be divided. The Americans will never allow Nigeria to be divided. If not, the only people that can even sponsor a divided Nigeria is the French. Of course, they sponsored Biafra last time, but they are too small. Even the Russians will not allow for a divided Nigeria. As long as there is one region in Nigeria that still holds on to the unity of Nigeria. And so any responsible person should be discussing about how to structure Nigeria in such a way that these issues can be discussed. Not this madness that you think you can do. Is Nnamdi Kanu more tougher than Ojukwu, who fought the war and lost and saw that, oh, he was mentally unstable? How long shall we continue to go about this? You all are talking about coming out to protest about the release of Nnamdi Kanu. You release Nnamdi Kanu today, he goes back and destabilizes the region, and people start dying. Most of you that are his supporters no longer go to your villages. And then it will still cost government another money to go and ensure the security and lives of people in the southeast. And at the end of the day, they will look for Nnamdi Kanu and catch him again, and you will still come back and start talking about protest. Any idiot, any lunatic going out to protest for the release of a terrorist is a terrorist and should be treated as such. That is my opinion about that.